Hi there. In this video I want to give you some tips on the newly released Island Sanctuary, some mistakes to avoid, and most importantly how to get the most cowries out of your island every single week. There are some new spreadsheets, one that was made by Leighton Gray from Cactua that we're going to use throughout this video. There's a link in the video description. Once you're on the file, you can create a local copy if you go up there at File, Local Copy, and then you can access it through your Google Sheets. First of all, I want to take a moment to talk about the rewards you can get out of the Island Sanctuary. If you talk to the Horrendous Hoarder, you can click Purchase Items with Seafarer's Cowries. Seafarer's Cowries are the currency that you're going to use to buy the rewards. Also, building upgrades. So if you start off the game with a high amount of Seafarer Cowries after the tutorial, do not go and spend them on these rewards right now, but instead save them. That is the first important tip. If you want to get the buildings upgrades quickly. If it's already too late, then my condolences. You're going to be able to catch up just fine. It's really no big deal. The rewards you can get are a bunch of glams, which are pretty good. These are pretty cheap. Like, you can get this entire set in a week's worth of cowrie farming with the method that I'm going to show you later on. It's really not bad. The minions, the mount, these are going to take a little longer, but overall you can get all of this in 1 or 2 months of your Island Sanctuary running. What's going to be interesting for us in the long term is the materia as well as the dyes. The materia is great for gatherers and crafters, especially those who want to pentamelt just to stock up some materia. These are always going to go for some amount of gil. However, the price, especially for the dyes, is going to plummet as soon as people start churning this out through the Island Sanctuary. So maybe a month or 2 down the line, there's really not going to be much money left in making this. And even with the current prices, it's not a lot. It's around 100,000 gil per week. And you can get this amount using your retainers in a single day. So see this less as an investment in terms of getting gil and more just to have a nice time and farm the minions and mounts and whatnot. As you level up your Island Sanctuary, you're going to unlock new types of buildings. For example, this right here is a workshop. Leveling up your workshop is going to improve the Seafarer Cowrie output for the same items produced. So this is very important if you want to be efficient with that. Over here we have a Granary. This is used for sending your mammoths on expeditions that we need to do to get rare materials for some of the high rarity items inside our workshop agenda. And the last type of building is the landmark right here. There are various landmarks. They all do the same thing, they just look different. This is the bathhouse, this right here is the tree house, and over there I have like the windmill. There's also 2 other ones, I forgot which ones those are, but they all do the same thing. They improve the groove that you can attain in the workshop, which we'll get into right now. The main way you're going to produce Seafarer Cowries is through crafting items inside the workshop. You can talk to the Tactful Taskmaster right here to access this. Review the workshop's agenda. In here you can produce various items that will produce different kinds of values depending on how long they take to craft and the rarity of materials required to craft those items. We can see that, for example, right now I'm crafting Isleworks butter. Next up, Isleworks earrings. I can click up here to switch to the next day, and I've already pre-planned everything. You can see up here, this is the current season. This is what they call a week in the island. And the week actually starts on Tuesdays because this is when the server reset happens. So day 1 is a Tuesday and day 7 is a Monday. I will recommend that you set the rest days, which you can do up here, always to the first day and then any other day you want. Maybe the second day just to make sure you have some time to log in. The reason why we want to do this is because there is a supply and demand screen, which is going to dictate what items are worth producing the most throughout the entire week. The popularity is set once per week, and I'm pretty sure it just resets on Tuesdays. So you want to set your rest day to that day to have a chance to log in and see what's going to be worth it. However, don't bang your head against the wall trying to figure out what's worth it, because people have already done the math for this. All of this is already figured out, and they can determine the rest of the week on Tuesdays for you to just set up inside of your agenda to then not worry about the rest of the week. Crafting items is very simple. All you want to do is click on the plus and then select any of the items that you can see listed here. For example, we can queue a 4-hour potion, and then it can be very tempting to just queue another 4-hour potion because apparently it's pretty good value and we got the materials. However, this is the worst thing you can do inside of your agenda. Never queue 2 of the same items in a row. What you want to do is queue items of the same category. If we have a look right here, potions are concoctions, and Ileworks Fire Sand is a concoction but also an unburied treasure, which means it shares a category with the potion and we can queue it after this. This will give us an efficiency bonus, and all this efficiency bonus does is it produces another one of whatever item this efficiency bonus is applied to. Afterwards, we can keep producing potions just fine, and we can just keep doing this for the entire day and just stack up efficiency bonuses. Now, as you get efficiency bonuses, you're going to accumulate groove in the top right. This groove lingers for 1 week and is going to get removed with the weekly reset. And what it does is simply add value in terms of seafarer calories produced for all of the items that you create. So our goal early on in the week is to stack up as much groove as possible, and the easiest way to do that is simply by doing 4-hour craft, just like we're doing right here. We'll stack another potion, and each time we get an efficiency bonus, we're going to get another point of groove. This is going to be what we do for the first 2 days of the week. And then we're going to move into longer crafts, like 6 and 8-hour ones, to get the most calories out of our island as possible. Okay, let's have another look at the spreadsheet. This is what we're going to use to solve our workshop worries, including some other problems. Again, the link is in the video description. This was made by Leighton Gray, as you can see right here, from Ether Cactua. And this is actually used by so many people that I know right now. I'm pretty sure that half of the Island Sanctuary community has their hands on this. If you click on the workshop solver down here in the categories, you're going to get this screen. This might change in the future because the spreadsheet is a work in progress. So this might look different for you like a month or 2 in the future, but the general principle will remain the same. What you want to look for is the different cycles. So we have cycle 1, cycle 2, cycle 3, and so on. These just correspond to the different tabs inside of your workshop's agenda. Our goal, as I said earlier, is to get our groove up as high as possible and then produce the highest value items we can using rare materials. So let's say we set our first day, cycle 1, to a rest day. We start on cycle 2 with the groove movers. Groove movers are going to be 4-hour crafts that use sometimes rare materials to chain efficiency bonuses to get our groove up. So these are lower value, the value is listed right here, than the calorie compilers, but we're going to get the groove up to then produce more calories towards the end of the week. So for example, for cycle 2, I would go for butter, culinary knife, and so on. For cycle 3, across all my workshops, I would produce earrings, butter. And then for cycle 4, because we now have all the groove that we need, we would switch to calorie compilers and produce fire sand, garnet rapier, fire sand, garnet rapier, and so on. Alternatively, if you don't have the items needed for this, you can select any other combo down here that works for you based on the items that you have right now. Or alternatively, if none of this is listed, then you're going to have to improvise and have a look at the supply and demand screen yourself. However, using the method I'll give you later on, this won't be an issue as you'll always have the materials ready for this. Some of the materials that you're going to need later on in the week for 8-hour crafts that are really high value are going to be rare Granary materials. We can get these by talking to the Excitable Explorer and sending our mammoths out on expeditions. You can see right here that I've sent my Granary out to the Fatal Falls twice this week because I want to get my hands on the rare resource, our island garnet, which I'm going to need for one of the items that I'm going to produce starting tomorrow. If you set your granaries on these expeditions right away, whenever you set the agenda on Tuesdays, because you already know which items you're going to need, you're going to be able to get these in time and it's not going to be any problem. Once they come back, you just click collect and then you just do the same thing and send them out. You can also send them out for the entire week. That works too, but I'm here once a day anyways right now, so I just collect this once a day, and they're gonna return tomorrow to bring back more rare materials. You don't have to stress out about doing this at a certain time or anything. The time they return is fixed, so if you start the expedition 1 hour before reset happens, you're still gonna get all of the materials, and it's no problem at all. A little ways up from your hideaway, you're going to find the pasture as well as the cropland. Here you can grow your plants, and you can get materials from various animals. The rank of these is linked to your cozy cabin, so you need to level up your cozy cabin to rank up your pasture and your cropland. Let's start off with the pasture. This is where you store various animals that you collect throughout the island using the capture mode. You click on this and you select the appropriate restraint. You'll need the net for small animals, the restraint for medium animals, and the soporific for large animals. What you can get from these animals is quite simply materials. If you select the gather mode, I run up to this island Billy. You can see that I'm going to get 2 materials because I got lucky. As a baseline, these animals are always going to drop 1 material. That is their normal item. But they have a chance to drop a second material that is their rare item. So this guy only dropped his normal item. The animals will have a chance to produce 2 items based on how happy they are. You can improve the happiness by improving the food quality, which I'll show you in just a moment. What's important to note here as well is that animals will always produce their base material. So if you don't feed your animals at all, and they are all hostile, they are all still going to produce their base material without a chance to give you the rare quality material, but that would make you a monster, so please don't do that. It's worth noting that some animals have a rare version of themselves. So for example, the wild dodo has the dodo of paradise. These rare animals have certain spawn conditions. Some of them are only available during a certain Eorzea time. Some of them are only available during special weather conditions and only in certain locations. There is a list in the spreadsheet, again, where you can click on animals. And this is going to show you the location. This is the grid coordinates, the time that the animal is available, or the weather. So using this, you can figure out where all of these animals are on the map and gather them over time if you feel like getting them. In addition to that, you can click on Pasture down here, and this is going to give you a quick reference list for all of the animals that you can collect, including their possible leavings. So we can see that, for example, for the Apkalu, the basic leaving is the fleece, and the rare one is the egg. Using this, if you create a local copy up here, file, make a copy, you can also select animals that you want to have on your farm. These are all the 20 slots that you could possibly fill. And if you change things around here, this right here on the side is going to change. So using this, we can select animals based on our own preferences and see what materials we are going to get. My goal here is to get at least 1 of every material. And beyond that, it is really not worth optimizing because we're not going to use that many materials anyways. So you could use the setup that this guy has right here, which will work just fine. This uses pretty much every rare animal there is. So you're going to have to do some rare animal hunting. If you don't feel like doing that, you can just use the quick reference list to get a setup that uses only the normal animals. Feeding your animals is very simple. You want to change the mode to feed and then select some type of food. There are 3 types of food. There's island sweet feed, island green feed, and island premium green feed. The way you get these is through crafting. You want to go into your sanctuary crafting log, feed, and then select whatever you want to produce. The green feeds both use different types of crops. So for example, the premium island green feed needs 2 types of crops and 2 of each. So let's say we select pumpkins and we select some cabbages and we make 5 of these. We're going to get 5 times 3, 15 rations of food, and we can use this to feed our animals. The amount of crops we get is more than enough to feed all of our animals premium island green feed every day without having to worry about it. and we're still gonna have enough for our workshop. It is really no problem at all, and there's no optimization needed once you are growing enough crops on all 4 of your plots. The difference between the different kinds of feed are very simple. Sweet feed and the normal green feed are only going to increase the happiness up to a certain point. We can check this out inside the guide right here. Sweet feed improves an animal's mood by 1 level, can improve the mood up to content, improves an animal's mood by 2 levels up to chipper, and premium island green feed improves an animal's mood by 2 levels and up to gleeful. So only using premium island green feed, we're ever going to reach the highest amount of happiness for our animals. That being said, if you have enough of a certain type of material, let's say you don't need the Cropland fangs anymore, you can simply stop feeding these guys the premium island green feed and let their mood drop a little bit, which is going to reduce the amount of stock that you have, but also save you crops, which again, this optimization isn't really needed. Once you reach the max rank on your pasture, you can also talk to the creature comforter, review status of animals. We can actually see that I missed some guy here on the food because he's still hungry, so I'll have to run back. But what you can do is select the animal, right click and trust to caretaker, and then select the type of food that you want to feed that animal. And the caretaker is going to take care of everything. As long as you have enough green food in your inventory, they're going to feed the animals every day, collect the leavings, and allow you to just come back essentially once a week to pick up everything that you want. This is not worth if you're going to come back to the pasture every day anyways, because you still have to click through every single one of these and collect the leavings, which is quite tedious. So if you enjoy the process of feeding your animals and you return to your island once a day anyways, then this is no problem. If you're going to go on an extended leave, then this may be worth considering. It's going to cost you some calories, but overall the fees are pretty small and it's probably worth the time saving. If you decide not to use the mammoth automation, simply feed your animals once per day. Again, you don't need to feed them more than that because it's not going to improve the amount of leavings that you get. The animals are going to be just fine on 1 ration per day. Opposite to the pasture, you can find your croplands. These will give you 4 times 5 fields that you can grow crops in, and each one of these will yield 5 crops per 48 hours. So what you want to do at first is click sow, select the seed that you want to plant. So let's say we want to plant berries, and then just walk to the field, click on them and plant the seeds. After that, all you gotta do is click water and then make sure that these fields are properly watered. Like right now they could use some watering. However, watering these over and over again isn't actually going to improve the amount of time that it takes for the plants to grow. They will always take 48 hours. The only thing you need to look out for is that they don't dry out, because that will kill the plant. So as long as you water them once per day, there's no benefit to actually watering this every 6 hours whenever the moisture levels drop. Again, just like with the animals, you can also talk to your mammoth and they can take care of all the watering for you. You will just have to provide the seeds for them to plant more crops once these ones are done. And you can come back in a week and just pick up everything that they produced. The seeds that you need to plant, you can find all throughout the island. All you have to do is go out into the world. I'll give you a map in a second to where you can find all of the seeds and gather them whenever you want to plant them. Also, you can talk to the produce producer, which I'll do in a second. Talking to the produce producer is going to give you access to various types of seeds that you cannot get in the rest of the island, that are only available from this guy. And you can buy pretty much an unlimited amount of these. They cost 2 cowries each, which is really not a lot considering the amount of seafarers cowries we can make producing items with these produce. So feel free to get all of these, and then you can plant these just like regular seeds. A lot of your time on the island will be spent gathering resources. You can do this by switching to the gather mode, and this is pretty self-explanatory, but one thing that the game doesn't really tell you is this. The way these nodes respawn once you farm them is that it's not timer based, but instead only 10 nodes on the entire island can be gone at the same time. So if we want to harvest this patch of pumpkin seeds again, what we're going to have to do is farm 10 other nodes starting now. This means that you can essentially run circles around whatever resource you really want to gather. So if we really want all of the pumpkin seeds possible, we're going to have to find 10 other patches, and then we can run back to this spot right here. And once we have farmed enough, we can circle back and gather more pumpkins. Okay, here we go. The first pumpkin patch has respawned again, and once we harvest this, you're going to see the other ones appear again as well. There we go. And that is how gathering on this island works. Outside of that, what's worth noting is that the default Island Sanctuary gathering log is pretty much useless. It's gonna tell you the general location where you can find at least one of whatever item you're looking for. However, these are wildly inaccurate. So for example, if we look for, what does tin sand look like? Ah, there we go, tin sand. So it's going to show right here on the map that this is like in that specific spot along the river. However, that is just not true, because you can gather tin sand all along this river. Literally in the entire river, if you run along it, you're going to find tin sand. So it is in this specific spot, but it's actually not that localized. You can find it everywhere. There is a map, again, inside of our spreadsheet, that's going to show you a map with much more accurate locations. Again, tin sand is actually all along the river. They've marked it here as well. But these are the improved locations for whatever you're looking for. So instead of looking at the in-game log, just look at the Google Sheets, because it's a lot easier. There are 2 duty actions available on your island, those being Isle Return and Isle Sprint. Isle Sprint is just a regular sprint, but with a reduced recast time. So we can spam this, and it's gonna be up before the sprint even runs out. So you can just spam this over and over to run from node to node. This is really useful. However, you can't drag it to your hotbar. You can see I have Isle Sprint right here, and the way you do that is by going on Character, Actions and Traits, General, and then you can use Duty Action 1, just drag that to your hotbar, and it's going to turn into Isle Sprint. You can do the same for Isle Return right here. That's going to turn into this ability. Alternatively, you can go into System, Keybinds, Hotbar, and then scroll all the way down, and that's going to give you Duty Action 1 and 2, and you can just straight up bind that to a key, such as a mouse button, for example, and you don't need to drag this to your hotbar anymore. Outside of that, the only tip that I have for gathering early on is that you shouldn't overgather. Just gather whatever you need to get whatever building upgrades you have, whatever materials you need for item production, but don't go out of your way to just gather for the sake of gathering, because later on you're going to unlock more tools right here that are going to make your gathering experience a lot better, because instead of just getting one item out of this, we'll get 2 different types of items. Early on you would only get the first one, later on you can also get the hemp. So if you spend in early levels a lot of time just gathering nodes, you're actually missing out on materials, and it's time that you could just spend in a better way. Whatever you do, don't run around your island and gather nodes just for XP, because the game will throw XP at you for producing items and farming, and you're just gonna waste your time getting to the max level a little bit faster to get your cosmetics like a day earlier. It really is a waste of time, so just avoid running around blindly gathering everything you see. Trust me when I say this, because I'm speaking from experience here. These were all the tips I have for Island Sanctuary. If this video was helpful to you, please leave a like down below and let me know which one of the tips was the most helpful to you for future reference. Also, you should probably click this video right here, which YouTube thinks will be useful for you. I don't understand the algorithm, but it looks good, right? You should click it. No, seriously, click it. Just kidding. Goodbye.